guys, and welcome to another episode of My Beautiful Chaos with Misty Fitch of Fearfully Made Ministries. This week, Matt and I are going to tackle part 2 of our topic over kids and technology. Okay, so for me, maybe I am in the middle, but I lean more toward the very strict. But I feel like there needs to be a balance. We cannot put our children in a bubble and protect them from the world, because what will happen is they will not know how to handle themselves when they're older and world and life hit. I think about when I was younger, I was able to write notes. My parents didn't read the notes that I wrote to my friends, but every once in a while they might find one and they had every right to read it. And I kind of am in that same place as I don't want to have an app on my kid's phone that allows me to read every text that's coming in and going out. Stay with me though, because I am going to add something. One reason that I have that is because I will lose my sanity, because I will sit there and I know me. I would sit there and read every single thing as it's happening and I would not have a life. Don't you think you would probably do the same thing?
Yeah, I probably so. It
just like a rabbit hole almost, just getting in the rabbit hole.
things I used to do that with the kids when they were younger. I used to read almost all their text, but then it got to the point. Okay,
No.
now
On
that
an app that was giving that I'm talking about an app that is giving you as they're getting everything, you're getting everything.
No,
because
sorry.
that's where I'm going to go next, because that is a rule the kids know. There is no such thing as privacy when you're living in our home. Privacy is not something that you are given as a kid. The kids know if you're going to complain and whine about it when I ask you for your phone, then you're not getting it back, because it's my phone.
Right.
I bought that phone. I pay the phone bill. You're living in my home. That's just how it is.
My house, my rules.
and I don't say that to be mean. It's just I am a parent and I am going to check through texts every so often. And the way I started was I told Elijah, I can check the phone records to see how many texts you've gotten, how many texts you've sent out. And when I go and look at your phone, I better see that many texts to that number and that many texts from that number. And if I don't, then you lose privileges of having a phone. I did do that for a while, and then I got to where I could trust him more. It's the same thing I was talking about before, where it's like you're holding your hand and doing it with them, and then you give him a little bit more freedom. So he'll ask me if he can delete texts, and then I look at them first, usually. We do have parental control apps in place though, and I'm going to put a plug in here because I love it. Although Apple is taking away almost all parental controls. If you're not aware of that, you should look into it, because they are. RPACT, OURPACT, is my absolute favorite. I love it. I use it all the time. You can turn apps on, you can turn apps off, you can turn the phone off at certain times of day. I mean, there's a lot of control you have as a parent, but you're not seeing their screen.
Right. And thinking of screen and protection, we also do the same thing for Netflix and everything else that we have on the TV.
Yes.
Everything is parental controlled, where they're only allowed to see the shows we allow them to see. If there's anything with violent content, or
there has to be a code.
Even the slightest bit of sexual content, there's a code. They have to
language,
anything
and
that's
don't
not...
think I don't get on the computer every so often and go look and see what has been watched and on whose account. And it's again, usually my
that is totally different than being a helicopter mom or helicopter dad. That is protecting our children. You know what I mean?
Right. So one of the things, the conversation we got into today with someone was, she said you need to read their texts. And I do not all the time, not as much as I used to, because one thing that parents need to realize is you can't be your child's Holy Spirit. Again, I'm not telling you that I'm right and you're wrong if you do this, but just think about this. If you are catching and correcting immediately with every single thing your child does, whether it's the text or what they see, or what they do outside of the home, just anything. If you are constantly there to swoop in, then you are becoming your child's Holy Spirit. And what I mean by that is God gave us this gift of the Holy Spirit who tells us right from wrong. We need to know right from wrong. We need to know how to decide. The way I explain it to my kids is it's that little voice in your head. You know, when you are faced with something that you know you're not supposed to do, you usually hear, "Ooh, I'm not supposed to do that." Right?
Right.
It's like Faith always says it's like the devil on the one shoulder and the angel, like they have on Full House or whatever. And that's kind of what it is. It's the Holy Spirit telling you. But it's still up to you to decide. You hear the Holy Spirit saying, don't take that cookie that you're not supposed to take, but then you decide, am I going to take it or am I not?
Why are you looking at me with the whole cookie thing?
I don't know.
Okay, so what? I had a cookie, all right? Come on.
Okay,
now.
so I'm saying all of that to say we need our kids to learn to hear and discern the voice of the Holy Spirit so that they make right choices because they know they're right choices, not because mom or dad came in and said, this is the choice you have to make. But don't hear what I'm not saying. Sorry, I know you're about to talk. I just want to say real quick, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's a free-for-all, leave your kid to do whatever unsupervised, but I'm saying you need to let your kid have some moments of weakness. And that still sounds bad. Fix it for me. Make it sound better.
It's guided independence.
That's good.
Give your children some independence, but be there to help guide them when you see they go down a different path at times. And you can't always be there for them. Like the Holy Spirit is with us always. Give them that guided independence.
That's a good phrase for it. I really like that. They feel like they've got freedom. I don't know. Sometimes I hear that we're too strict, but really, I don't feel like we are.
Not at all.
I want them to feel a sense of freedom, but at the same time, I am right there. It's kind of like when you're teaching your kid to ride a bike without training wheels and you're kind of holding on to the seat, but then you let go, but you're still running beside them. So they're doing it.
Guided independence.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's that's kind of what you're doing. You start off holding on to them so that where they're going, you're really the one who's making them go wherever they're going, but then you let go, but you're still running right beside them to catch them if they fall. They still might get their knees scraped, but you're right there to put a Band-Aid on it.
And that's the thing.
And then they can ride by themselves.
And that's the thing about letting the kids grow up. You got to let them fall. If you don't let them fall and let them learn how to get up for themselves, then you're not doing your job.
And that is absolutely going to be the next episode that we talk about.
That's going to be a good one. I'm anxious for
But this one is quite a bit longer. It may be in 2 parts. We'll decide later. I feel like we've addressed. I know that the listener who emailed us, we did not give her any sense of resolution. I don't know the answer because I can't imagine that life of your kid is constantly being bullied. Like bully is, it's a phrase that I feel like has been used and overused. Like I feel like it's way overused. But this listener went into detail and her kid is full out being bullied. The school is aware of it. The school does nothing about it. The teachers turn a blind eye. And I could go, as a former teacher, I could go into a long story about that.
And that's sad.
But that actually may go into next episode with what we're going to talk about on why teachers turn a blind eye. So I'm hoping that listener listens also the next time, and maybe we'll give some kind of resolution. But
I'm actually looking forward to the next one.
It's just it's really hard because the kid still has to go to school and face those kids who are being very mean and hurtful behind a screen.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good episode because I'm looking forward to it because there is a difference between. I feel there's a difference between guys getting bullied versus girls getting bullied as far as actions that can be taken.
We're gonna have a new episode, but this is. So that we may have 2 episodes coming up because bullying was not a topic that I thought we would talk about. But thank you for staying with us on this episode, and we look forward to next week.
Yes.
And Matt will be joining us again.
Yay.
All right. See you next week. Thank you for joining My Beautiful Chaos this week. If you have any suggestions for topics or questions you would like answered on an upcoming episode, email me at mybeautifulchaos@email.com. See you next week.